So how I've been doing this? I mean, I've done it one time so far. In my Ironclad run, every card reward in Act 1 I talked about. And I talked about them while attaching them to concepts, which I then also wrote about. Holy shit, I wrote a lot. Holy shit. That's actually a significant amount of text, huh? So today, I'm gonna do the same sort of thing with the silent run. So I haven't done like all the Ironclad cards, I've only done like half of them. And it took me like 3 hours to get through Act 1. But that's like kind of fine, I'll just like kind of work on it, and in total it's probably like 30 hours worth of writing or something. Tellman US Ajax, thanks for the 64 months. Smash you, thanks for the 29 months. Jorbs, try not to write a book challenge. Already failed. It'd be kind of nice to be able to get through that super elite and then kill 4 elites this act. What does the whale have? Oof. I mean, they could be good potions. The upside of good potions here is very high. I don't want to remove strikes that much in a Hexago stacked with potentially 4 elites. There's also a bailout. I can go this way and still get 3 elites. Although, sure feels like 2 potions wouldn't be enough to do that. Huh. Another close spot. I'm gonna try the potions because I feel less confident in my understanding of what this button does than I do in the other ones. So just try this out. Maybe it's wrong. Going for it is not meant to imply that I have ascertained with certainty that it's right. It's more just like, this seems fun to try. Tunsley, thanks for the 63 months! I mostly know what happens if I do this too, to be honest. I think it's probably worse than taking a card remove and going the right path. So with these potions, we take Sneaky Strike, I think. Also, Sneaky Strike makes it so that one event is good. One where if you have an attack with 10 damage on it, it does extra stuff for you. Guess I need to take Sucker Punch here. Seems kind of bad. Okay. Okay. I mean, okay. So, like, I mean... Oh, I forgot to write out the card rewards. It's okay, I'll start now. Sorry, I'm distracted by thinking about this run path. I mean, okay, so like... I mean... The thing is, it's right, so... I need a break from the 1 HP runs. I don't think I've done any of those in like over 2 weeks. Gotta get with the times. Just that easy. Alright, I have to take a card here. So we need to... I'll logged on the wrong account to edit this. Wonder what color silent is. That one probably? Yeah, that seems right. Alright. We don't care about this yet. How did I set this up on Ironclad? Description upgraded, and then analysis. You freeze one column, probably. Delete that. All right, cool. Let's get started. Ginger Zero, thanks for the 64 months. Appreciate it. Hey, Balloon Brigade. Outmaneuver. So, it is possible to pick this card. Like my analysis, we're really starting off with a strong one. It's like energy card. It's a D- energy card. It is possible, but difficult, to want to pick up this card. Upgraded helps a little. The problem is that next turn is a long time from now, and in a deck which is developed enough to not die this turn and also be able to guarantee good usage of extra energy next turn. You are hopefully playing cards much better than Outmaneuver. I think that that's basically my spiel on Outmaneuver. Had some solid Outmaneuver runs though. Ironclad analysis tab was a lot bigger. Outmaneuver is just green madness because it converts card draw into energy and makes your deck stronger on future turns but weaker on the turn you drew it. I'm a huge fan of that comment because you didn't even spell the name of the card right. Like, you started by misspelling the card and then got worse. Good job there. Caltrops. Exclamation mark Spire year is the link to this spreadsheet. That's the Canadian spelling. What a disaster. Caltrops is a weak scaling power. It's a silver bullet against multi-attack. That's kind of it. Usually Silent has better answers to multi-attack enemies than this, but can be an okay pickup in a Hexaghost act, or if you are missing a solution to book stabbing, and forced into back to elites with poor potions. In general, Silent has access to much better healing powers. Hey, you're welcome, the Crambler. How do you take Grand Finale with your not being a throw pick in a deck with no cards draw? Uh-huh. Good question. Dagger Throw. Dagger Throw we have to actually develop some things for. So, discard engine. We're gonna call it discard snowball. I think the discard engine is pretty much always a snowball engine, not a combo engine. Although it ends up being a combo engine as well, the discard engine is just really strong. We got B- for that. Front-loaded damage. Also B- for front-loaded damage, probably. Excellent. Enabler for silence. Discard synergies, which have good output through the entire run. Good and flexible output. Usually you're picking this up as a damage common early in the game over other options, opening up easier transitions into a fuller discard synergy structure. Alright, let's talk about discard synergy. Just watched a 2-year-old YouTube Jorbs who called them golden bullets. Interesting. Why did I call them golden bullets instead of silver bullets? Like, isn't the reference to how silver bullets kill werewolves? What the fuck is 2-year-old Jorbs talking about? Anyway. Discard is Silence primary engine on 2.0 and later balance patches. It's able to start out with some Silence best damage cards. Dagger Throw, Sneaky Strike, and especially Eviscerate. And then transition into Strong Card Draw, which doesn't have to be infinite, but might become infinite accidentally as an extension of continued snowball. Acrobatics is pickable on floor 1, in my opinion, and coupled with Calculated Gamble and Tactician can add tremendous tempo to any silent deck. Discard shells don't have to go infinite. They can go infinite, but often the excess card draw and damage simply trivializes easy fights and gets combos faster for harder fights. Watching early Jorbs is an experience. Oh, like young Jorbs? I think I'm thinking Caltrops, because Here's a Ghost. Also, like, fighting against Lagavulin. Oh no, grand finale in my opener. Whatever will I do? How can I possibly defeat the super elite sentries now? How Electric thinks the Prime! Oh, that's why I took grand finale. Ooh, a tiny joust. You shouldn't know. Okay. Sucker Punch. Sucker Punch is front-loaded damage like C-. Like, I will usually skip it as a damage card unless I also feel like I care about the weak in particular. There's also a block alternative. D+. Weak. Let's see what I did there. Damage option for early game, which can also sometimes picked up late game in, for example, a run with Super Crane and no non-neutralized sources of weak yet. I'm gonna say this is not a terrible card at all, but tends to weigh the deck down while not being particularly good at anything. Alright, next, Cloak and Dagger. Cloak and Dagger means I have to talk about shivs. It's a bad block card. Like a D+ block card, and Frumped. Front-loaded damage, C-. I mean, that's too much to give it for front-loaded damage, to be honest. A D for front-loaded damage, actually. Because you want block and damage early game, this is an okay pickup in some Act 1s. However, as of the introduction of the Heart and Ascension 20, the dream of outscaling everything in the game off kunai and Cloak and Daggers feels very distant compared to simpler options like playing a Wraith form once. What else? I'm very sassy today. Like, I'm not explaining things as well in favor of in favor of being sassy. You're welcome, Count Electric. Worth a comparison to Iron Wave? I mean, sure. No, this card lacks several upsides. Iron Wave. It's a skill instead of an attack. And it's on a character without much access to strength. We're vulnerable. I guess you have access to more dexterity. Still though, like, I don't know. That's probably unfair to the card. This is maybe a... I give it a C- for block card. Generally speaking, I want something to be C's for me to be taking it in Act 1. Like, C is like, this is about as good as skipping if you care about the thing that it's rated that for. And with Cloak and Dagger in Act 1, you often care both about blocking and damage in Act 1, so giving it ratings just below C for both of those feels like it makes sense. Alright, we also have to introduce shivs, which I'm actually going to call card spam. Although it's not a good card for card spam snowball. Some overlap with discard, but aimed in a different direction. Let's define what it is before we say that. So card spam on silent is like strategy based around snowballing off relics and cards which interact with playing lots of cards. This can be as simple as having a little strength and some blade dances, but often gets... But there are far more synergistic elements available. Like ink bottle. What's the letter opener? Ornamental fan. House of Cuts. The idea here is to play lots of cards every turn and have a few relics or powers which enhance what those cards do to a high enough level for it to actually have strong payoff. Decks built focused on card spam sometimes need special solutions against both Time Eater and the Heart. For example, card spam deck with lots of card draw might be able to add a bouncing flask and catalyst to the 35 other cards it might have, perhaps already including a burst, and all of a sudden it has enough damage for those fights. Dexterity and Intangible are also available. You don't need a special solution to the heart if you die to the Time Eater. Well, on Ascension 20, you don't know if you're fighting Time Eater or not, huh? So... Blur! Ooh. I think I should call this some sort of mechanic. There's some sort of block scaling thing going on here with Dexterity. You just call it Dexterity Snowball? Yeah, probably. I don't know. Silence strategic space is a lot more complicated than Ironclads, I think. This is probably going to keep on being true. Well, no, because Watcher only has like 6 cards, so Watch will be pretty easy. I don't know. I don't know, actually. The character's strategic spaces might just get more and more complex. That's probably true. Huh. Uh-oh. I'm gonna call this hand manipulation, I think. Is that what I called it? Hand manipulation, yeah. I might need to rename hand manipulation into something more emblematic of what this is actually doing. Basically, we're like controlling when we have our outputs. We're saying we want our block next turn instead of this turn. Very pickable card, which doesn't quite make the cut unless it has one of several. A good reason to be picked. Sad, there are several good reasons to pick it. And runs with limited output, being able to... With limited output and good hand control, being able to save up block over the course of 2 turns to survive a big attack is often a big deal. And runs with lots of card draw and some inconsistency, being able to play Blur every time you draw it ensures that a bad draw order doesn't cause you to lose later in the fight. When else do you take a Blur? Runs with good dexterity. And runs with good dexterity and burst. A Blur will often capitalize on one big turn to ensure a block for the next several. Nice with boat relics. Ooh, I like that. Runs with poor control over when block is created, i.e. boat relics. For example, with boat relics, Blur can increase your chances of using your block effectively. And we have to define a dexterity snowball. Dexterity shells try to play 3+ block cards which scale off dexterity per turn while pairing them with enough dexterity for them to block for 40+. This gets you through almost every fight in the game with little consideration for late game boss fights. For example, Malaise for Time Eater / Heart. Sometimes struggle against faster fights like Reptimancer. that is able to be built with enough consistency that singular bullet answers can cover those situations. Damage can often be more incidental than deliberate for longer fights, i.e. Single noxious fumes might deal 100 plus damage by itself. Relics like bronze scales could do a lot of damage, etc. That said, there are some fights in the game which hard counter the approach of trying to full block with fair cards every turn, so you need to be aware of where your deck is weak and make sure you're solving fights like Kremlin Knob and Reptimancer appropriately, whether that be with potions, relics, or cards you're fast enough to draw. Rhythm logistics. How is everyone? Twitch chat. I had a long weekend. Both like I didn't work yesterday and also like my weekend was so long. Like yesterday was my weekend day. I worked on Sunday basically because I run community games on Sundays. I don't think I want any of these cards. Actually, yeah, I didn't take Dagger Throw. So if I take one of these cards, I lose the 5 and 17 chance that Grand Finale goes off in the next Elite fight, which doesn't feel like a thing I want to lose right now. A little bit concerned that I'm just dead, for what it's worth. This thing, tiny chest, maybe not the thing that I needed. They were good games? They were. You're enjoying my commentary while flossing. Nice. Okay, so there's a 1 in 5 that I get Grand Finale here. Damn. That is really too bad. Because not only did I not get Grand Finale, but also I didn't Distilled Chaos for extra damage on the off chance that I would. Alright, we didn't die to Gremlin Knob. We got the boot and an attack potion. And some more cards to talk about. Acrobatics. Card draw. It's like S- card draw, I think. Discard Snowball. Yeah, that sounds about right. Perhaps the strongest common in the game. What were the games on Sunday? I played a lot of, I think it's called Daybreak, is that right? Which is a like cooperative engine building game that kind of like models climate change action. Solution solving. It was fun. Some other people played Wormspan. Acrobatics is perhaps the strongest common in the game. Drawing cards is as strong as you make it, depending on how accurately you can put the right cards into your deck. On a card with Draw 3, 4 written on it. Discard 1 is usually upside to begin with, just to avoid getting stuck on max hand size as you run through your deck. Silent also has discard synergies. Benefit hugely from Acrobatics. Both drawing and discarding them. One of the few cards in the game that I consider pickable on floor 1, despite it not having any damage or block on it. I think that's probably true. I don't pick many cards on floor 1 that don't deal damage or block, do I? I guess like Battle Trance. So strong that it's possible to have too many copies of it just because it's so good at solving the problem it solves. Practice will help you understand whether a deck needs a fourth, a third, / fourth copy of Acrobatics, or whether it's already drawing its cards well enough and is just hindered by having even more card draw. Well, you can't get offered Adrenaline on floor 1, so like none of the rares get offered to you on floor 1. How is that for me and for people in chat who go to the games? How does that compare to or complement the regular streamer gig? It's just like an extra thing that it's like a social event. I think everyone who comes just has a good time playing games. All right, Reflex. Reflex is like card draw C-, discard snowball B+. Problem with Reflex is that Acrobatics exists and doesn't require an enabler to work. Reflex will rarely be the best card draw option in decks with heavy access to discard effects, and will occasionally be a worthwhile card draw option in runs where little card draw has been offered. However, its exposure to variance hurts particularly much on a card draw card, since card draw is one of the main ways to reduce variance. And so, trying to fulfill your deck's card draw needs with options which create more variance can lead to some very bad turns. Was there another thing I need to write here? Brief. I think that's basically what I want to say. Hey, Stampede. Quick slash. Unloaded damage, C-. Card draw D-. A pickable early game card, but I'd generally prefer not to. Much worse version of Dagger Throw, given that it doesn't interact with discard synergies at all. I should write that Dagger Throw is card draw as well, I guess. Feels like it is. It draws a card. Also costs a card, so it's not like incredible card draw, but you can note that it has card draw as one of its elements. Any card I'd consider S tier and front-loaded damage. Emokinesis. Snipe is certainly pretty good. I mean, I think we're taking Acro here. I already have a Sneaky Strike plus. Seems pretty good. Unfortunate. Unfortunate. None of my relics do anything. Well, I got a couple of elite fights done. And then got mugged by a singular looter. Never mind. Exact lethal. Perfect deck building. Okay, Sucker Punch I already talked about. Dagger Spray. I stated that Cloak and Dagger is a skill instead of an attack. Any argument that it is one of each? I mean, we could read it. Because it's a skill. Rarity common, cost 1. Good conversation. No, I mean, I take your meaning. I think I mentioned that it was usable in card spam, which is basically what the consequence of it having a shiv attached to it is. Dagger Spray is decent front-loaded damage. That all it is? I guess it's a silver bullet for multi-enemy fights. I should also maybe note that it's strength scaling. It's not a huge consideration, but like actually does kind of matter. I do have the boot. It's true. I think an early Vajra makes Dagger Throw a lot more appealing. Well, I have the boot already. Certainly getting an early Vajra makes any common attack more appealing, though. And Dagger Spray a little bit more than others. I'm gonna rate, like, especially birds. The interaction between Dagger Spray and the birds fight is actually, like quite significant. Birds can, like, deal a deck 30 damage. And have that damage reduced by, like, 15 by the deck having a Dagger Spray in it or something. It's a very, very, very hard counter to one particular fight in the game. Zephyr is here to yowl at us. An inoffensive damage card, which can have some pretty good turns. in Act 1 and 2, at which isn't likely to be relied on or much past there. I don't think there's really that much more to say about Dagger Spray, is there? I have to decide where I'm taking it. I think I probably am. And then we have to talk about Backstab. Backstab's kind of a lot. I think I'm gonna talk about what innate means in a glossary entry, instead of writing the same thing on every innate card, because there is like a decent amount to say here, but I don't want to have to say it for every single one of the cards. Innate cards are placed on the top of your deck, meaning not only that you will draw them on turn 1 of fights, but also that you are guaranteed to have them on top of your other cards after shuffling your deck. That means they count double. That essentially means that they count double for math on how long it will take you to draw your best cards, whatever they may be, compared to non-innate cards. As such, innate can be a benefit or a drawback, depending on how important it is to have the innate cards in your hand turn 1 and how many other cards it is important for you to draw. Something like that. That's probably the thing to say. It's exclamation mark Spire year in this document. Rendelza, thanks for the 28 months. Front-loaded damage. It's like an A- or something, probably, for front-loaded damage. And that's it, right? Excellent front-loaded damage, which suffers from slowing you down later in the game. Can be sensible to take this early game and then remove it later in the run. At some point, it may even become worse than strikes are, depending on your deck. That's what I have to say about Backstab. I'm going to take a Dagger Spray here. Kind of like interacts with the boot favorably. My Gremlins fight is terrible. That's most of it. Also my Birds fight. Valuable, do I think a relic that gives temporary dexterity, like the strength from the mutagen event? I don't know what that means. But as an innate guarantee, it will be on top of other cards after shuffle. You're dumb. Yeah, after the first shuffle. I guess I should clarify that. Or the first turn of... Alright, I fixed it. I have found a serpent. I'm leaving. I could really use like a better card. I'm gonna take 2 upgrades. We're gonna upgrade Caltrops for sure to get through Hexaghost. What if I find like a bouncing flask here and then I regret that choice? I have walked into a gremlin fight where my dagger spray is actually just kind of terrible. Kind of funny. Yeah, I mean, it's terrible. I don't know. I don't know what to say. Can't play it. Should have hit that. But alright. Still took 0. Predator, Prepared, and Bane. What is going on with my deck right now? It does not feel like a very good deck. I like invested heavily in killing those elites. And when you do that, like, you have to get a payoff for doing it, or else you're weaker than you would have been if you just, like, built your deck well. And I sure didn't get anything from killing the elites. So now I guess we're here. There's Prepared with Grand Finale. Maybe that's what I'm doing. Prepared is actually not a bad card. I don't want Snecko Eye here, I don't think. Yeah, I don't think I ever want Snecko Eye here. I have added 0 block to my deck, unless you count Sucker Punch. Unless you count Regal Pillow. I think Prepared is an okay card to take an upgrade, though. Talk about some more cards. Predator. It's like a C+ for front-loaded damage, I want to say. Card draw, like a C- for card draw, probably. Better front-loaded damage than you might expect because of the low mana curve of silent damage cards, especially in her starter deck. Whoa, that's not the word starter. Starter deck. Started writing strategy, I think. Some late game silent decks are easily slow enough for a card draw next turn to matter. However, it's generally better to have the card draw this turn, not next turn. I think that's probably all I have to say about Predator. There's stuff to consider about it, like, I mean, basically the fact that it costs 2 matters for a bunch of different things, but that's, like, I already said that here. I'll say it more explicitly here. Having a damage card that costs 2 and deals 15 is nice for taking advantage of quite a few different potions, relics, Echo Eye, and even sometimes relevant in events. Low mana curve, what is this magic? Oh shit, I have to write energy, not mana. My bad. My bad. Alright, Prepared. Prepared is card draw C. Discard snowball C plus. Needs upgrade. Excellent. Enabler for discard synergies and worth upgrading early to smooth out deck draws. My cats are having bath time. Oh my god, they're so cute. Zephyr, don't bite her. They stopped being cute like immediately. I looked over and it was like, oh, they're so cute. And then Zephyr started biting Xenia. What the hell? I'm actually gonna add to discard synergy. I tend to aim for something in the vicinity of 1 backflip, 3 acrobatics, 2 prepared, plus 2 tactician, plus as many calculated gambles as are offered, and whatever other cards get offered, so I have something to actually play. Worth picking up in Act 1, but not until Gremlin Knob fight is worked out. Usually not until Gremlin Knob fight is worked out. As immediate synergy with Sneaky Strike and Eviscerate, and that's not how you spell Eviscerate, and remains a useful card through the entire run. Obviously, much weaker if you like picking up Snecko Eye, but I do not personally recommend picking up Snecko Eye very often. I'm tiny metaphorically, doing decently. The weather has been overcast. I like being, I don't know. It's a weird vibe, the weather in Seattle right now. It's like cold and overcast, but still feels like summer somehow. Bane. Front-loaded damage, C. I kind of want to give it a C+. I'm going to give it a C+. Wait. I guess we should give it variance as well. Quite good damage if enabled, but hard to put together. Watch out for poison potions or poison stabs, which make this pickable in Act 1, as it is genuinely worth picking up for its damage output if it can regularly hit twice in the early game. I guess we give it a front-loaded damage C-, since by default we're not taking it, but it may happen. Where would I put prepared on upgrade priority? I was gonna say needs upgrade. Oh, I did say needs upgrade. Where would I put it on upgrade priority if it even makes sense to talk about that without deck context? I mean, that it just needs upgrade. The reason I upgrade prepared is that getting +1 card draw out of your upgrades is really good. That's mostly why I upgrade prepared. Alright, so we have taken prepared, we have upgraded prepared. Upgrading dagger throw is not very sensible when I already have the boot. Upgrading neutralize is less exciting when I have the boot. Believe it or not, it's like 1 less damage. Upgrading grand finale is very optimistic. If I'm gonna choose between a card draw card to upgrade, I'd rather prepared than acrobatics. Can I explain why? I guess because I don't always play acrobatics when drawn. And I think that's true even if I upgrade it. Alright. This is 16 and that's 16. Let's play one more card to be showy. There you go. Bet you couldn't do that. Why do I have a grand finale in my deck? I wanted to win the run. Ghost fight's scary even with 47 health. Why do I have a grand finale in my deck? Embarrassing. Embarrassing question. I'm pretty sure I have to draw this, or have to play it now that I've drawn it. Oh my god. I'm dead by fucking 1 HP. 1 damage. I'm dead by 1 damage. That's very upsetting. Well, this was a fun silent run. I am dead by like 1 block card / 1 attack. I have 3 energy. If either of these were in my hand instead of Grand Finale or Survivor, well, actually, no, I need Survivor to block with as well, right? Anyway, it was an interesting run. I decided to go for the 4 Elite path with a Potion Whale bonus instead of going for like a more normal, just take a card remove from Whale and go this way kind of thing. Probably go this way and get 2 elites. And I hit Tiny Chest with the Boot and Regal Pillow for my relics. So anytime you do that, one's going to be a little bit iffy. I took a Grand Finale to kill the Super Elite with a Liquid Memories, which worked swimmingly, and it actually went off once in the Hexaghost fight as well. Took Caltrops and upgraded it to try to kill Hexaghost, but I just didn't get any help. GG. Silent has died on floor 16.